We're sitting at mid-February. I'm taking apart some old traces I found in the shed to get some useful things from them. There was a company called Gray's who used to make these here. Really good. These are silicone sleeves that go over your crimp. They used to do ones for your treble hooks as well, little red ones, that fit over it like that. It just tidies up the trace. Unfortunately, these aren't made anymore, so I'm having to go through old traces that I don't use no more and take off stuff that I can get so that I can recycle it. I'm making some more big bait traces. I'm stepping up from the 45-pound wire I used to 60-pound wire now. There's nothing wrong with the 45-pound. It performed well, you know, but I've managed to get hold of some 60-pound wire now, so I'm going to make some out of 60-pound wire. It just means recycling the old hooks. Sitting in my car doing this, mostly because my wife's just finished a 12-hour shift, and the last thing she needs is to be woken up by me rabbiting onto a camera. It's amazing how you progress in pike angling. Nowadays I would seldom use anything other than those type of swivels, the ball bearing ones. Looking back at the old traces that I made, there's quite a lot of, well, just normal swivels. And then I used to wonder why I was getting so kinked up. See, when you destroy an old wire, it's important that you cut it up and then cut it up into single strands, so when it goes off to landfill it's not catching anything, it's not injuring anything, it's just going off to the dump. I never understand these guys that go and buy their own traces. I did a demonstration on one. One of my friends bought some ready-made, no, these were made by a big tackle company, and it was advertised that it was 30-pound wire, and it was advertised to be 18 inches long. Now, a quick check, it wasn't 18 inches long, it barely made 14, and if I can hold the wire like this and go like that and break it, then it's not 30-pound. So I did that in front of him. He wasn't terribly impressed that he'd wasted all this money on stuff he could have made himself for less than a fraction of what it cost to buy them. How's your season going? My pike fishing season is somewhat bittersweet, if I'm honest. I'm catching pike, but the percentage of the pike that I'm catching that have, well, gill rakers torn, broken jaws, pretty obvious injuries that's caused by angling, it's kind of disheartening to catch a pike that should be a lot heavier than what it was, and the only reason it's not the weight it should be is because it's got some idiot's trace in its throat. I found somewhere on the Earn somebody is using fluorocarbons for their bait traces. So far this year I've found 3 pike that were all emaciated with the remains of a fluorocarbon bait trace. It's 2019. I do not know who in this day and age is dumb enough to use fluorocarbon for bait traces. You might get away with it for a lure trace. I say might because watching a video with the American guys catching muskie and they get bit off all the time in it. So why would you use it? I don't get it. Maybe somebody that's into their fluorocarbon leaders can explain to me why it's worth the risk of being bit off, losing a lure, leaving it in a fish, and basically that fish is hardly going to be able to eat with a lure in its face. You know, it's now dead. So I'd love somebody that's into using fluorocarbons to actually explain it to me like I was a child as to why fluorocarbons are still being used. More to the point, why are they being used for bait traces where they know that the pike's going to take it into their throat? I mean, a lure, if it's a big crankbait or a big jerkbait, the chances are the lure is going to be in the scissors. And the lure is going to be smashed up. I just don't understand why people use fluorocarbon. It's amazing how we change and evolve as anglers, but when it comes to progress, just for the sake of progress, that isn't replacing anything that's of use, I don't get it. And that's what I see with fluorocarbons. Right, I've been asked to make a big bait trace and do a bit more of a rundown for you. So here we are. We're going to start with 60-pound AFW Bleeding Leader. Now when you're making a big bait trace, you have to think about how much your hooks are going to be spaced out by. These are stereotypically for myself 3 hooks, 2 trebles and a single. So you're going to want 12 inches, at least 12 inches from your single hook to your 2 treble hooks. Now when it comes to crimping and securing your trebles and your single hook, I add an inch of wire for every inch that I want that part of the trace to be. So if that part of the trace is 12 inches, well then you're going to have to add 3 more inches to make it so that you can attach the 3 hooks. Now with my big bait traces, I want from the single hook to the swivel to be at least 18 inches. Preferring it to be 18 to 24 inches, but if it's a minimum of 18 inches, I can live with that. So now I'm going to measure out some I'm going to go and kill a dog, but I'm going to measure out some wire for the trace. There's your 15 inches of wire. This is going to make out your 12-inch hook trace at the bottom. So move this to the end again. And because you want your trace 24 inches, I'm going to measure 25 to include the 1 inch extra for the swivel. And there it is, 25. So I'm going to cut this, if I can find where I put my scissors. And I'm making 3 of them, so I'm going to take 3 inches, 2 other cuts of wire this length. It saves you measuring with the tape measure. There is our 3 lengths of wire for our 3 big traces. Put that back in the box and put this up out of here for the time being out of the road. I'm going to wind up my tape measure. I have a tape measure in my fishing box. I take crap photos of pike. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2". I used to be a rugby player before I was crippled. So I'm a big guy, so holding up big pike makes the pike look very small. So I tend to lay the pike on the unhooking mat and lay the tape measure over the top of it so people can see how long the fish is or what sort of girth the fish has. Something to add scale. These are my little cutters. These come from China. They're actually stamped up Rage. Could that be that the wee Chinese gadgets who made them were flogging them out the back door and Fox didn't know about it? Think they might have. Right. Making a big bait trace, part 1. Securing your treble hook. You take your wire, you slide on your treble hook. Isn't that nice and simple? You then make a kink in your wire, like so. Again, very simple. You then fold the wire around the body once, like so. Again, very simple. This tag end goes back through the eye of the hook. Like so. Now, this little loop here that's over your body of your trace, this tag end is going to go under this loop here. this is where it gets a bit fiddly. So you take your tag end, you put it through the wire, and you have the basics of what's called a choke knot. Now you pull this tight. This you need pliers. I'm going to use my old crimping pliers too, just to get the tag end pulled through nice and tight. And there you have it. Your crimp will slide over those two bits of wire, but the wire itself is choking around the eye of the hook, which means that the crimp, all the crimp's doing, for want of a better word, all the crimp will do is, it's like a belt and braces approach. The crimp is just an extra level of security. Just slide that crimp down. Slide the crimp over, tighten everything up again. So the crimp sits like that. Then squeeze the crimp. There you go. Now that hook, that wire will not move. Fold the tag end back. I fold the tag end back so the tag end goes into the little gutter of the crimp. There you go. And the excess just gets trimmed off. This is actually the second pair of these I have. I found a pair outside a fishing tackle shop in the car park, still in the wrapper. Again, I was thinking somebody's obviously bought them and they fell out of a bag. I went into the tackle shop. I was honest, I said to the tackle shop guys, does anyone they know that's bought this? They couldn't remember it. They even checked their sale logs and they couldn't see anyone in the last couple of weeks that bought one, so they couldn't help me out. So I ended up with two pairs of these, and there you go. That's why I used the little silicone sleeves. It just tidies everything up, makes the hook, makes the trace a bit tidier. I'm going to take my second treble. Put it through the wire. Mostly not tangle the damn thing up. Make a decision on how far the trace is going to be. I like that, that's about 5 inches, a bit longer. And then we do a knotless knot to secure it. So try not to get tangled up here. We fold it back, we go around once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. And then you take the tag end and you put it through, if I can get the damn thing through, put it through the eye of the hook. And there you go. That's how I secure my hooks. You then take one of these, little crimp sleeves or hook covers that Greys used to make. If anyone from Greys is out there listening and they have some of them sitting in a garage somewhere, send them to me, I'll help them out. And that just slides over the hook like so. And that is that hook now locked in position. That little sleeve, I don't know if you can see it, but it's you can tell it's been used before because it's covered in teeth marks. So then we have to figure out where we're going to put our single hook. Single hook. Again, slide the hook down the wire. So we have it a bit there. And again we're going to knotless knot it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to put it back through the eye of the treble, or the eye of the single. This is where it gets a bit fiddly. And there you have it. Your eye is now, your single hook is now secured. It's not going to move. So take the final cover, slide that over. There you go. That's the business end of your big bait trace. We then, to finish it, take one of these, we slide that down the trace, we take a crimp. These are size 4 AFW crimps to match the wire. You could use size 3, you could get away with size 3, but size 4 is what I had to hand, so I'm using size 4s. Then you take your ball bearing swivel, and you're going to secure it the same way as you secured the treble on the bottom of this trace. Take your wire, pinch it, wrap it round. This is really difficult to do when you don't have the use of one thumb. Back through the eye, back through the loop again, and pull it tight. I do have these hook puller things that they're alright actually, they're pretty good. I'm going to slide my crimp over it again. Do it there. Right crimp it. Fold the tag end over. So we have our swivel now attached. Then we just push our little silicone sleeve over the crimp and over the eye of the swivel. And there you go. that's what the finished article looks like. This, just for the crack, we'll see if my measurements are out. I'm a bit hungover today, so the measurements might be out. Oh, my big bait trace is 11.5 inches as opposed to 12, and from the single hook to the eye of the swivel. Remember, we wanted this to be at least 18 inches, preferably 24, and we have that spot on at 24. So it's half an inch out. What does it matter? Anyway, there you have it, lads. That's how I make my big bait traces. Just a close up for you. I'm going to have a cigar now. Maybe a coffee. And I wonder will it be safe enough to go up and try and wake up the wife. No, it's probably not safe enough. Everyone knows these. These are the wee trace holders you get in the tackle shops. I used these for years. Didn't have a problem with them. Thought they were alright. I had some gripes where when you take the traces out, they're coiled up, all spilled up. I didn't so much like that, so I swapped it out. There's a company that I haven't seen it in the market in Northern Ireland very, very long, but I'm not sure if you can see that. There you go. It's made by Quantum. It's called Mr Pike. This is their trace wallets. What I like about this system is all your traces, without getting stuck with traces, if I could show you. They're all laid out nice and flat. Now, some of the big bait ones that I've looped around and pinned down, but they're looped around, there's no kink in the wire, they're not pulled tight. The rest of them are just normal traces. This here is long enough so that it holds all your traces. I'll just measure it out for you now. This is 26 inches long, so it's long enough for your traces. Hey there folks, this is just a quick thank you to everyone who's recently subscribed to my channel. I can't believe that in the space of little over a month my channel subscriptions has doubled. It's a bit overwhelming that there's that many of you out there that want to listen to the utter rubbish that I come out with. I do read all your comments, guys, so if you have comments, please leave them below. I will try and answer them as best I can. This video here was a response to getting asked how to make the big bait trace that I use. If you need any more information on that, then please feel free to let me know in the links below, the comments below even. Not the links. Regarding links, in the description I'll leave links to where I get all the stuff. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that subscribed. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, then please consider giving it a subscription and a thumbs up. If not, then happy angling to you and good luck.